Thank you so much, Justin, for that. You know, it's really, really cool and really inspiring to see when newer trainers come along and they play so far to be on the main stage here at such a huge event.
Right, absolutely. It must be a dream come true right now. You know, Chance, he hasn't had too much experience in the tournament circuit, right? Like he said before, versus Alec, who last year was really, Nationals was his breakout tournament. And coming out of that tournament, you know, he's had a lot of success this year into the regional circuit too. So, you know, Alec definitely taking that experience from last year's Nationals and bring it to success. So you can definitely expect Chance to probably make a splash next season too.
Definitely. It's going to be exciting to watch him kind of grow as a trainer. We're going to jump right into this team preview. Of course, we're going to be watching from Chance's perspective. We can see on the screen, or we can see on the screen, we're going to go over the team really quick. Alec is running Gothitelle, Hydreigon, Landorus, Mawile, Politoed, and Ludicolo. Definitely an interesting team there. I love when I see Gothitelle. It's really, really awesome. Such a great Pokemon. What do you think Alec's going to be trying to work with here?
Oh, I mean, Gothitelle with that Shadow Talk definitely will be able to keep Pokemon from being able to switch. And that's going to be important because, you know, you have Landorus and Mawile to come in to intimidate whatever Chance has on his team. And if they can't switch, you know, you can't reset those stat drops from those Intimidates. So that's going to be a huge play for Alec right there. You know, you also see the Rain mode with the Politoed and the Ludicolo. We saw it earlier with Palchua, and we saw that it was really disruptive. I mean, weather is just so powerful.
Definitely. It's always such a powerful mechanic when we see weather hit the field. And also, having the rain is going to make Mawile, besides ground-type attacks, you know, it's going to weaken the fire-type attacks that could be coming out, covering one of its weaknesses, which is always cool to see.
Especially if it comes down to the Mega.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if it comes down to the Mega. We're gonna see Chance open up with the Kangaskhan and the Ferrothorn as Alec leads Landorus and Ludicolo getting that Intimidate off.
That's a big Intimidate right there to go off onto the Kangaskhan and that Ferrothorn. That's going to reduce both those Pokemon's attack stages by 1 stage. Ludicolo, of course, can provide some fake-out support, but Kangaskhan also has its own fake-out support too. Ferrothorn right now, it's a fairly bulky Pokemon. Definitely does not want to have Ludicolo fake out into it because, you know, Rocky Helmet, possibly it's carrying that, or Iron Barb. So Alec right now going to switch out that Landorus there.
Definitely, he's going to switch out the Landorus and bring in the Politoed to kind of get that rain set up. I was just about to talk about Ferrothorn's ×4 weakness, but that thing doesn't really exist anymore now that the rain's up. It's his fire weakness is down to ×2. But we're going to see the rain does get set by Politoed. Kangaskhan is actually going to switch out on Chance's side, not wanting to get anything going on. Jellicent's going to come in, and Ludicolo goes for the Scald on the Jellicent where the Kangaskhan just was. Not going to do too much damage because it is resisted, and we're not going to see a burn. Leech Seed is going to miss the Politoed, which would have been huge because just switching in that Politoed puts pressure on it when it gets Leech Seeded.
Oh yeah, that's a huge miss right there from Chance's side. We do see Chance bringing all his rain counters. I mean, Jellicent and Ferrothorn, they're not going to mind playing in this rain at all. We see Alec switching straight to that Politoed while we see Chance switch that Kangaskhan out to reset its stat drop. So good play right there from Chance.
Definitely, and Alec's going to go ahead and pull that Politoed out, go back into the Landers. The Intimidate not mattering too much as of now, but we never know what that Ferrothorn could be running. Jellicent and Ferrothorn are going to take their attack drops respectively. Ludicolo going for the Giga Drain on the Jellicent. Super effective hit, does over 50%, bringing the Jellicent down to 74. But Jellicent is going to do what it does best, and it is going to recover and stick around for a while. We're going to see that Ferrothorn is going to want to go for another Leech Seed on the Landorus. So it's going to do a little bit of damage to that Landorus and get some recovery, as it doesn't need it right now, but it could need it in the future.
Absolutely, and we see Chance right now having his Pokemon on the field as long as possible. Jellicent's going to be on the field for so long with the ability to recover. We see Ferrothorn set up some Leech Seeds onto that Landorus there, and that's going to be, you know, keeping it around a lot longer too, especially since now in the rain, it's going to lose its fire weakness, or its like super fire weakness really. So we see Jellicent right now not really taking any damage at all that turn. And it's going to be able to do a lot of work right now against that Landorus Therian. I mean, Landorus Therian can go for very powerful physical attacks, and Jellicent, you know, it's more bulky on the special side.
Yes.
But, of course, it also has access to Will-O-Wisp, so that could be problematic for that Landorus
So it could completely drop that Landorus from being a threat. We're going to see the Giga Drain does go ahead and connect with the Jellicent, and the U-turn from the Landorus, a very good play because it completely gets rid of those Leech Seeds while doing a little bit of damage to that Jellicent. Excellently played by Alec. For sure. The Ferrothorn, the question is he going to predict that and go for the double Leech Seed, or is Ferrothorn planning something else? We'll find out as soon as Alec decides to switch in his Pokemon. He goes out into the Politoed, so just bringing his Toad back in, kind of want to let it sit on the field in all of its shining glory. Jellison is going to go for a recover yet again, just although it hasn't gotten that Will-O-Wisp and residual damage off just yet, it's still just going to stick around. Power Whip is going to miss the Politoed, which even intimidated would still have done a good amount of damage.
Yeah, unfortunate right there for Chance, and we see that Jellison right now is probably fishing for some Cursed Body activations because right now that Giga Drain's not doing too much to that Jellison overall. I mean, we see the Giga Drain go off, we see Jellison recover, and it's back to almost full health, so if Ludicolo gets it disabled, that's going to be unfortunate, and that's going to put Chance in a better position.
Absolutely, but I think Chance got tired of waiting for that situation and switches the Jellison out while it's healthy. Politoed is also going to switch out. Chance switches in the Blaziken, which I am extremely excited about. I love Blaziken. I do. It's just one of the Pokemon that really captures me, being nostalgia, being a competitive, whatever. I just love this Pokemon. Landers is going to come in and intimidate it, which is a little bit unfortunate for one of my favorite Pokemon, but the Scald is going to connect on Ferrothorn, not doing very much damage, but it does snag a burn. So that is going to be residual damage. It's going to chip away at that Ferrothorn, but it's going to make up for that by landing a Leech Seed on the Landers.
Yeah, and again, Ferrothorn content to just go ahead and Leech Seed. We do see the burn. That's going to reduce Ferrothorn's attacking power by a lot. I mean, it's been intimidated so many times already, and now it's burned. So those Power Whips, barring a critical hit, won't be doing too much at all. We see Blaziken come in, and like you said, I'm excited to see Blaziken too. I mean, that's a Pokemon that we haven't seen too much of, at all before this year, and now it's kind of picking up the pace. It's kind of a utility Pokemon. It has really good fire typing, it has good fighting typing. Fighting typing is really big right now to hit those steel types, Kangaskhan's, and anything like that. And also has access to hidden power, which can also knock out. Pick up surprise knockouts on those Landers.
Absolutely. And we're going to see Blaziken and Ferrothorn both just go for a Protect here, not really wanting to let that Landers get a U-turn off. But it does actually go for the Super Power, and Ferrothorn protects itself. The rain is going to stop, which is pretty good for Blaziken, although there's not really Mons on the field right now that he wants to take advantage of the fire-type attacks.
Yeah, and that was actually a really good Protect right there from Chance, because now Blaziken, if it is Speed Boost, it will get a Speed Boost, and that also lets the rain stop, so Ludicolo will no longer be, swimming so swiftly in the rain.
No, he's not going to get his, what do we want to call it, like swim practice in and just, getting out there fast.
Right, and at one stage of increased speed, this Blaziken can outspeed this Landers and possibly pick up the knockout with the Hidden Power Ice, like I said earlier. So it all comes down to the item choice right now on Alec's Landers. Landers, of course, very popular to carry those choice cards, but we also see other variants like Choice Banded, and we also see Assault Vest too. So depends on what this Landers is carrying.
Yeah, and we're going to see Chance actually switch out even after settling in with that Blaziken. Landers is also going to switch out, kind of getting a little bit of information that Alec was afraid of that Blaziken after gaining a little bit of speed. The Politoed is going to come in and reset up that rain. Ludicolo is just going to start swimming around, backstroking left and right, doing what it's got to do. We're going to see Ludicolo go for the Scald, getting that rain boost again, which is nice, increasing that damage output on Jellison, but we're not going to see it do very much because it is a Jellison. A Power Whip is going to connect on the Politoed, but it's burned, and that does nothing. Even, oh my goodness, that's the power of burn and intimidation right there. Just no damage whatsoever from that Pokemon.
Right, and Landers can just come back in and intimidate again. I mean, we saw how much damage that did. Politoed not too known for its physical bulk, but, the combination of those intimidates, those burns, I mean, that did maybe like 10% to that Politoed. So Alec deciding that rain's going to be very important to him, and it definitely is. I mean, Ludicolo definitely enjoys being able to swim around all of Chance's Pokemon.
Absolutely, and even while Ludicolo's swimming, Jellison's just going to recover up. He doesn't mind the Giga Drains, no matter if they're in the water, out of the water, just kind of feeling it out. Jellison's going to go for the Scald. Politoed's going to go for the Scald on the Jellison. Now the Cursed Body triggers on the non-super effective move, and it's going to disable it. We're going to see a Leech Seed onto that Politoed so that Ferrothorn can get back to recovering some HP.
Yeah, and this battle has been going on for a good time now without even picking up a knockout. It's been, what, almost half of the battles?
Almost half the battle timer has ticked away at this point.
Yeah, and not much damage has been dealt to either side. Maybe, like, chip damage here and there. Landers is at about 60%, so Chance right now really just punishing Alec for bringing the rain. Jellison and Ferrothorn out there, they're taking all these attacks really well.
Yeah.
Absolutely really well, and Ferrothorn, with the Leech Seed up on that Politoed, going to be healing back residually, and he's content to stay out there and continue Leech Seeding.
Absolutely, despite being intimidated so many times. And here comes the Mawile in for the Politoed, and there's just another Intimidate. That Ferrothorn is literally, if it had boots, he would be shaking in it because there's nothing going on there. Giga Drain is going to connect on the Jellison, still missing that knockout, and we're going to see Cursed Body finally do what Chance wanted on the correct move. Jellison's also going to recover, gain all that HP back, but Ludicolo will not be able to swim around with the Giga Drain until he switches out or until he waits out the disabled Giga Drain. And of course, another Leech Seed, just more recovery for that Ferrothorn.
Yeah, and we see the Cursed Body finally activate on the Giga Drain, which is what Chance has really been waiting for. Now, Jellison, again, it has access to Will-O-Wisp, could burn that Mawile, or could burn whatever tries to switch in on the Mawile slot.
Yeah.
Could also burn that Ludicolo to try to pick up some more chip damage on it in between turns. So Jellicent right now might start going on the offensive. Has to be careful about Mawile, though. Mawile, if it Mega Evolves, it gets huge power, and it's going to be hitting like a truck.
Definitely. I feel as though Will-O-Wisp, if he was going to target anything down, it would have to be the Mawile. But like you said, it's going to hit so hard. I mean, Jellicent does resist the Steel type, but Mawile is just going to switch out. That Leech Seed is putting in so much work. Chance is definitely playing the slow game, but he's playing the smart game right now, forcing Alec to just play around all of this recovery, all of this residual damage. It's incredible. The Intimidate, I think Ferrothorn at this point has lost all muscles in its body that it ever had because it's been intimidated so many times. It's going to be able to take that Scald just fine because it does resist it. Jellicent's going to get a recover off, which I think Chance might be a little bit regretting because there wasn't too much on the field besides that Mawile that could have pressured it.
Yeah, and we see Leech Seed go into the Ludicolo slot, so expecting a switch right there.
Yes.
Didn't think that Mawile would switch out, but we do see Alec go ahead and switch Ed out. Lander Stand right now, if it can go for Earthquakes, that'd be great, because, you want to start getting damage on that Jellicent, because otherwise it's going to sit there, and, time is a factor now.
Absolutely. Time is a huge factor in these games. We're going to see Ludicolo switch out, go into the Mawile here, and like you said, I don't think we'll be seeing that Earthquake, because he just switched in his Mawile, and that would just be detrimental. I don't think Mawile would be able to take that. Literally, Ferrothorn still getting intimidated. The U-turn on the Jellicent slot is going to preserve that Landers from taking any sort of damage this turn. And Alec just switched out his Ludicolo, so I wouldn't be surprised if he does bring that back in, but we'll find out in just a second what he is going to bring in. It is, in fact, going to be the Ludicolo here. A perfect pivot right there, just taking advantage of that U-turn switch initiative. Definitely a huge play. We're going to see Jellicent go for the Will-O-Wisp on the Ludicolo slot and connect, so that's residual damage, but I really feel like Chance wanted to just hinder one of Alec's physically offensive mons.
Yeah, and that was kind of a way to get that Will-O-Wisp onto the wrong slot and also have Ludicolo come back in. I mean, we see the switch out, and he was probably also expecting a Leech Seed into that Lander Stand slot too. So a smart play right there from Alec to be able to get that Ludicolo out and back in right away. Again, this Jellicent is just sitting here. We've seen Recover, we've seen Will-O-Wisp. I think that's all we've seen so far, right?
Oh my goodness, I think so. I don't think we've seen we've seen a Scald from it, didn't we? I think we saw a Scald from it earlier. I'm not entirely sure. There's been Scalds left and right on the field. It's really hard to keep track of. We have Ludicolo swimming around, Scalds getting fired left and right. The Kangaskhan is going to come in on Chance's side of the field, and we're going to see the Mega Evolution from the Mawile. Like you said before, huge power is so threatening. Attack stat becomes sky high. Ludicolo is going to go for the Giga Drain on the Jellicent, and has Alec had enough of this Jellicent? Is he going to double target it, or is he just going to take advantage of a predictive switch and take out a Kangaskhan? Curse Body on the first time is going to go ahead and disable that Giga Drain. We're going to see a Will-O-Wisp on that Mawile. Going to go ahead and pretty much cancel out the huge power boost. Play Rough is going to come through, though, and it's going to connect on the Jellicent despite the burn. Jellicent's going to live on 1 HP! Oh my goodness. That's incredible. 1 HP.
And that is unfortunate. Ludicolo can still go ahead and pick up a knockout if it goes for the Skull, but Kangaskhan out there, her and her fake out support are going to possibly prevent Ludicolo from being able to move. We saw Jellicent move before that Mawile, so kind of either a very slow Mawile, probably going to play into that Trick Room mode with that Gothitelle, or, it's a pretty speedy Jellicent just so it can get over certain things. Yeah, oh man, that would have been a huge knockout. That would put Alec way ahead with just 4 minutes left, so really want to see that knockout right there.
I know, less than 4 minutes. That knockout might have made Chance Alec breathe easier, but that wasn't the case. We're going to see Politoed come back in to set up this Rain. It's interesting that you mentioned Gothitelle could be carrying Trick Room, because he's got Rain on there. He's got potential Trick Room with the slow Mawile. But we're going to see a Kangaskhan Mega Evolve. Whenever you see a Kangaskhan Mega Evolve, if it's not Burn, and I don't think this Kangaskhan has been intimidated yet, so it's definitely a Pokemon that's going to be putting out some serious pressure on Alec. We're going to see a Fake Out here just so Chance can gain control of the match. We're going to see Fake Out does a lot. That's a crit. That's why I was going to say that did a lot for a second hit. Parental Bond is not that strong. But Jellicent's going to recover back up, so it's going to try to take itself out of range of getting KO'd by that Mawile. We're going to see another Play Rough, though, and it is going to connect into the Kangaskhan, doing almost 50% HP damage, but that burn is really coming in clutch for Chance.
Yeah, and we see exactly, that Kangaskhan just hanging in there, not even 50%. Interesting to see that Alec did not decide to target down that Jellicent, probably realized that he's not going to be able to pick up that knockout on that Jellicent this game at all. Going to try to pick out Pokemon that will not be able to recover. Kangaskhan really has no access to any recovery moves at all. So smart play right there from Alec to target down that Kangaskhan, because really, Alec right now is just looking for one knockout, just one good knockout to take the Pokemon advantage and finish off on the battle timer.
Yeah, with only 2 minutes and 25 seconds remaining, Politoed is going to go for the protect. Jellicent goes for the cover, really just making sure he stays healthy, doesn't want to be in range of anything. Like you said, I think that Alex decided that he's got to target down that Kangaskhan, does a good amount of damage to it, but not enough to take it out. Mawaile's going to suffer some burn damage, and that's going to be the end of that turn.
Yeah, and right now, Alec has to find a very good switch for this Politoed because we saw that the Kangaskhan was targeting down that Politoed. It looks like Chance is also just looking for that one knockout to take him over the edge too. So right now, Alec with that protected Politoed might have to either go for a double protect or switch out to the Landisarian to go for another Intimidate. But it's going to be risky because Landisarian has already taken so much damage and Kangaskhan double edge is nothing to mess around with.
It's almost a little game of chicken right now because both players have a Pokemon that's very low in HP, especially Kangaskhan being at 40 HP. We saw that Mawile can knock it out, and it's funny because it's a game of chicken, but Blaziken is in the back. So who knows? Maybe Blaziken's going to come out to play a game of chicken. We don't really know. But Politoed definitely does not want to get knocked out. We're going to see Mawile actually withdraw with the battle timer solo and Mawile being putting out enough damage to KO that Kangaskhan. Definitely an interesting play. We see Ludicolo come in, though, for its place. Politoed. So we're going to see Alec go for a double switch here, being able to get Intimidate off. But if Chance did play that game of chicken and he did fire off a Scald into that Landorus slot where it came in, that's going to be the end of this game, I think, because we're going to see a knockout. But we're going to see just how... Oh! Kangaskhan goes for the priority Sucker Punch, so Alec made a fantastic play. And then we're going to see that Scald going into the Ludicolo slot. Not going to do enough damage to do pretty much anything. It's still swimming just fine.
Really good reads right there from Alec, and that's one of the things that people don't talk about too much is going to be, where you're going to switch your Pokemon, and he picked perfectly where to switch. I mean, if he switched that Landorus in that Ludicolo slot, that would have been a knockout right there. So that would have been super unfortunate for Alec. This right now is most likely going to be the last turn of the game right now, so we're going to have to see where the knockout's going to come from. Most likely that Kangaskhan right now, because Ludicolo has that fake out support and can come in, fake out that Kangaskhan, and then have Landorus there and pick up the knockout with either Superpower or a Rock Slide, really. Ludicolo can also just go ahead and pick up the knockout on Kangaskhan itself, swimming around.
Yeah, it's
like,
just going to swim right up to Kangaskhan's face and just, like, scream a Scald right in its mouth. It's going to be ridiculous if that's the case.
Yeah, so right now, unless that Kangaskhan carries Protect, which some Kangaskhan's do, some Kangaskhan's don't, that's really up to personal preference and team preference. So we do see the Ludicolo go for the Scald here, going to be able to pick up a knockout, I think. Yeah,
that's definitely going to knock out that Kangaskhan. So definitely interesting seeing that Kangaskhan stay in the field. That was literally swift swimming up to his face. And we're going to see the Landorus go ahead, go for that U-turn, getting out of here. So a potential Scald into that slot isn't going to pick up the KO. Now, of course, we know that Alec has that weakened Mawile in the back, so I don't think that's the best option to switch out to on the last turn.
Definitely
and
Politoed.
he has to go into the Politoed, and I think that's actually going to go ahead and secure the match for Alec. Yeah, we're going to see the Scald put out not enough damage to take this Politoed out. Does relatively maybe 10% to that. It does get a burn last turn of the match. Not going to matter too much, obviously, but I think this one's all wrapped up.
Yeah, and we do see Alec play, pretty smart right there. No point in going for the fake out onto the Kangaskhan and just having Landorus go for the finishing move. Instead, opting to U-turn out to switch back in that Politoed to secure his victory. He needs to find that safe switch in for that Scald to take. So, smart play right there from Alec, and he's going to move on to win this first game, and that's going to be a huge game to win because, for me, whenever you're playing a best 2 out of 3 set, it's always nice to have, won the first game, get as much information as you can about your opponent, adjust it a little bit, but don't over-adjust, right? And then once you have game 1, you kind of have a buffer, right? If you lose game 2, you still have game 3, and you're just going to get more information, and that's going to be so much more helpful to you. So, Alec taking the huge lead in the series.
Absolutely, and I mean, you could see how Alec's team was rather, Chance's team was rather bulky, doing a lot of residual damage with the lead seeds trying to get in there. It had the Blaziken, which we unfortunately didn't get to see too much of because the rain is just too crazy, and I'm sure that's why Alec brought the rain, because he saw that Blaziken and he didn't really want to mess around with it.
Right, absolutely, and both players played really well. They both, recognized their win condition. Chance, saw the rain mode coming, and he brought all his rain counters, and that was smart play from Chance. Ferrothorn and Jellicent, both those Pokemon, they're going to be out there against rain. They do not mind going off against rain.
They love the rain. They can't swim swiftly in it, but they love it. They bask in the rain. It's literally what they just want to envelop themselves in. So it'll be interesting to see if we're going to see Alec perhaps go with a different method despite winning game 1. Does he feel like he gave too much information in that game? Does he want to bring that Gothitelle we were talking about? I'm really excited to see how this next game plays out. Both players taking their time, choosing their teams, because it's important. I mean, one player right now is going to have to win out after this.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised to see if Alec just opts for not the rain because, he's seen Chance's rain counters, and they're hard to deal with. So might see Alec here go for a completely different mode. Maybe that Trick Room mode that we've seen.
Yes.
Maybe.
The potential Trick Room that might be there. We're going to see, though, that Alec's going to lead with Ludicolo Landorus. Now, that doesn't confirm that he brought the rain again, but it seems pretty likely once we bring that Ludicolo. And Kangaskhan Thundurus are on Chance's side of the field.
And we do see Thundurus come out for Chance. We haven't seen Thundurus yet. Of course, Thundurus can play a good role to slow down that Ludicolo. Can go for possible swaggers, possible Thunder Waves to just kind of
disrupt.
Yeah, disrupt. Keep Alec's team a bit more under control. You don't want to have a team where it's going to constantly outspeed you and be able to hit you before you can hit it, right?
I mean, I feel like Thundurus would just be jealous watching Ludicolo swim around so fast, and you just got to paralyze it. That's it. Or you got to confuse you. Which way are you swimming, man? You backstroking? You don't know what you're doing anymore. You think you know the rain, but you don't. We're going to see the Mega Kangaskhan come through. It's going to go for the fake out on the Landorus slot here, which is good because we've seen the U-turn a lot in that last match, so he kind of wants to keep it in here, potentially going for a hidden power ice. We're going to see a fake out, though, connect onto the Thundurus, so we're not going to see anything. Both Pokemon are going to flinch now, and it's going to be kind of a moot turn.
Yeah, and that was a good call to fake out that Landorus slot because, Landorus can threaten that Kangaskhan with a superpower. It can also threaten that Thundurus with a Rock Slide. So, good call right there from Chance to, try to minimize the amount of damage he's going to be taking that turn.
Definitely, and Chance is going to go ahead and take out that Kangaskhan and switch in the Ferrothorn, which if Alec did go for the superpower on that slot, Ferrothorn's still going to take a sizable amount of damage, but we're going to see Alec switch out into the Mawile, and this Ferrothorn's already getting intimidated again, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to be able to pull off its power up the way that it wants to. That's for sure. With Mawile being on the field, though, we're pretty sure we're not going to see any Earthquake business. Thundurus is going to go for the Swagger. Mawile dodges it nimbly, and we're going to see a Rock Slide come through. It's going to do a good amount of damage to that Thundurus. Oh my goodness! Leaving it at 47 HP, and it's going to munch away on that Citrus Berry to recover some of that lost HP.
Yeah, so that was kind of a risky play right there. If Mawile does get swaggered, you don't mind that +2 boost, but at the same time, if you hit yourself in confusion, that's going to be doing maybe 50% back to your own Mawile.
That's like punching yourself in the face with a truck. Like, it already hits like a truck, and you're literally walking into an 18-wheeler. That's insane.
That's one of the things, Thundurus has to be a bit more careful about where he's going to be swaggering because you don't want to swagger a physical attacker at all. It's risky.
Yeah, it's risky. I mean, they could wait out the confusions. They could break through each time. It's way too much risk involved. We're going to see the Ludicolo come in, though, for Alec in place of that Landorus. Not even opting to go for a U-turn, which we've seen so many times, kind of giving away the fact that it's choice that's locked into that Rock Slide, so it doesn't have the option to do so. Mawile is going to Mega Evolve as Thundurus does fire off a Thunderbolt on that Mawile slide. It's going to do just under 50%. I actually thought it would do a little bit more, and I think we're going to see this Thundurus go right down. So definitely a much more offensive game from Alec right now compared to the last one where we took it to time, but we've already got our first knockout, and the lead seed does not affect Ludicolo that switched in.
And a great switch right there from Alec. He's definitely identifying that Ferrothorn, whenever it does come in, it just wants to set up lead seeds to, have staying power. And, Alec does not want that Ferrothorn out on the field for too long. I mean, last game, it was out forever.
Yeah.
Right now, it's at one stage of reduced attack. Not going to be hitting too hard. Really, the only way Ferrothorn's really going to be able to hit is through that lead seed and residually chip away at it. So, Alec's doing a good job of, controlling that Ferrothorn, preventing it from getting up lead seeds, preventing it from being able to do any damage at all as we see that Ludicolo switch out.
Definitely, Ludicolo is just going to get out of there. And the Landorus is going to come back in to intimidate the Mega Kangaskhan because we just might see a fake out from it since it's the first time it's on the field right now, making sure that if it does target on the Mawile resists that fake out, so it's not going to do too much, and now it's going to do even less. But it looks like he is going to target down that Mawile, and we're going to see very little damage thanks to that Intimidate and the resistance that Mawile has. But better than that, Mawile's not going to be able to get a move off this turn. We're going to see that Power Whip. It's intimidated. It's neutral. It's not doing much. So Landorus is going to be able to take that just fine.
Yeah, and Landorus does have a lot of physical bulk naturally. So Landorus, of course, coming in, gets the Intimidate, gets to take that Power Whip for essentially free. Wouldn't be surprised to see Ludicolo possibly come back in to, try to take in another lead seed,
Yeah.
So Kangaskhan, of course, not going to enjoy facing off against this Mawile. Landorus, of course, can also threaten this Kangaskhan, can also threaten this Ferrothorn at the cost of, hitting into the Iron Barbs. So, Alec's in a really good position right now. I think that he is ready to pick up another knockout on this turn, possibly.
Yeah, I think right now is the turn we're going to see. But we're going to see Kangaskhan go for a Sucker Punch onto the Landorus. Of course, like we said, Landorus does have that nice bulk, so it's going to be able to take that just fine. Landorus is going to U-turn then up against that Kangaskhan, getting out, really preserving that Intimidate for later on. It's going to be a crit, which that was almost 50% to that Kangaskhan.
Yeah, that was a lot of damage.
That was a lot of damage from that crit. We're going to see, like you said, you wouldn't be surprised if the Politoed's going to come in, though, and set up the range. So he did, in fact, bring that Politoed. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see the lead seed here. coming through, but it might have been also too predictable because of the, as you said, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lead seed. So we're going to see a play rough, though, and that's going to be able to finish off that Kangaskhan just fine, especially after that critical U-turn. It's just Alex just taking the momentum of this game. Even if these Pokemon don't have Swift Swim, I'm pretty sure that he's just been showing them how to swim because they've been performing so well for him.
Alec does go up 4-2 right now as he does get up that lead seed on that Politoed. So, you know, good call right there to continue going for lead seed. We did see that U-turn, you know, having that Landorus switch out. Now Landorus can come back in, and here's your favorite Pokemon.
Here's my favorite Pokemon, Blaziken, but the one thing that my favorite Pokemon doesn't like is the rain. He's just not a fan of the rain, especially when a Water-type Pokemon is on the field. It's just such a huge threat for him.
Yeah, but it still has access to Superpower, which can pick up Nugget right now on Politoed or that Mawile.
Yes.
So Blaziken, it's time for it to do some work.
Maybe I should be more confident in like one of my favorite Pokemon. I'm sorry, this is my fault. But we're gonna see a Perish Song. Alex teching the Perish Song. Well, not teching. We did see the Gothitelle, so we were thinking Trick Room, but there we go. There's that Perish Song right there, and it's pretty much gonna be about protecting, waiting, and watching as Pokemon faint left and right.
Yeah, and that was such a beautiful Perish Song right there. A Perish Song with 2 Pokemon left, that puts pressure on the opponent because, you know, now Chance has 3 turns to pick up 4 knockouts. You know, that's going to be difficult. It's possible, but it's going to be completely difficult. You know, we see from Alec's team so many different modes. We see possible Trick Room, we see Perish Song, Perish Trapping, you know, with that Shadow Tag. So, you know, there's just 6 Pokemon. There's like 3 different modes that I've seen so far, and that's just amazing.
It's such a versatile team, definitely. Just like you said, just with 6 Pokemon, how many different ways has Alec planned to play this team? We're going to see the Double Protect, a move that I usually associate. Once I see Perish Song and I see Double Protect, I think of Wolf Glick right away. I'm just like, oh, look at Wolf. But we're going to see the lead seed, of course, go off, which really isn't going to matter too much here. The Blaziken did protect on the turn of Perish Song, though. So we're going to see Mawile, Perish Count falls to 2, Politoed, and Ferrothorn all fall to 2, but that Blaziken was left unaffected, I believe, or was it affected?
It was affected.
It was affected.
It's going to be 2 more turns to pick up 4 knockouts. So
that's not...
Chance has to pick up the offensive right now. In back, I believe there is the Ludicolo and that Landorus. If both those are choice, then it's going to be difficult. I mean, they could possibly... Chance has a chance. I mean, if those Pokemon don't have Protect, that's gonna be. Oh well, we see Mawile.
Yeah,
Protect,
we're gonna see Mawile go for that Double Protect, gets it, and we're gonna see Superpower on the Politoed. Gonna go ahead and pick up that knockout as Mawile is fine from anything that Ferrothorn wants to do. It's really cool when you see a trainer bring a team like this that can do so many different things and just thrive on anything. It's just so cool to see.
Right.
We're gonna see the Life Orb in that Blaziken, by the way. That's something really interesting. It is not a Mega. It is a Life Orb Blaziken.
And one of the things that Life Orb does on Blaziken is it's going to help it pick up knockouts. I believe it needs that Life Orb and the Ice-type hidden power to be able to pick up knockouts on that Landorus, as we see Ludicolo come in. 1 turn to pick up 3 knockouts here, so not looking too good.
Yeah, literally impossible, unfortunately. Alec, both trainers played extremely well, but Alec, that perfectly timed Perish Song was just so beautiful to see. It's just one of those moves that have grown on me. I think a lot of people think less of it a little bit, but was that a Triple Protect?
That was a Triple Protect.
That was a Triple Protect? Are we serious right now? I'm in love. I'm in love. This is ridiculous. This Mawile, I got to give it my number. We're gonna see Blaziken go down to the Perish Song. Of course, I think that Ferrothorn's gonna Mawile's actually gonna follow suit, and that was a beautifully played match by both of our trainers. That was a thing to see, guys. Triple Protect. You're not going to see that all the time live. You're really not. You're not even going to see someone go for it all the time live.
Yeah. Of course, you know, that Protect didn't matter too much.
No, it didn't matter at all, but it's aesthetics, man. It's Protect. 3 of them.
Yeah, but, I mean, let's talk about that Perish Song that happened, you know. Great identification of Alec to realize his win condition, you know.
Yep.
If he can pick up 2 knockouts really fast, get that Politoed in, and then just go for that Perish Song to, you know, put that timer on Chance, you know. So much pressure on Chance to pick up knockouts as soon as he can, and, you know, just protecting here and there, just stalling out that Perish Song.